Some bands chase perfection, others chase chaos. When creativity, ego, and pure theatrical instinct collide, you either fall apart or you make history. There's never been and there never will be another band like Queen. Four perfectionists pulling in opposite direction who somehow created pure harmony through the storm that was 70s and 80s rock and roll. They were flamboyant, theatrical, larger than life, and yet underneath all that, there was discipline, musicianship, and heart. Freddie Mercury may have been the face, but the fire came from all four. Speaking of fire and face, the reason that it took such a long time to record this episode is because during the first take, I had a booger the size of the sun. Welcome to episode 7 of 4 Beginners, where we step into the spotlight and break down the brilliance, magic, and drama of the band Queen. The Beginners. Before the crowns and the anthems, our story starts in the late 1960s with a band called Smile. Guitarist Brian May and drummer Roger Taylor were students in London, already playing around Imperial College, harmonizing and chasing that bigger-than-the-room sound, the kind that would eventually become Queen's signature. In 1970, a young singer named Farrokh Bulsara joined the band. The world would soon know him as Freddie Mercury. Freddie had a background in art and design, and you could see it in everything he did. The costumes, the logos, and the way he turned every stage into a gallery of sound and motion. In 1971, bassist John Deacon joined the group, completing the lineup. 4 musicians who didn't just want to play rock and roll, they wanted to elevate it. In their early years, record labels didn't quite know what to do with them. They were too theatrical, they were too strange, they were too everything. But that's what made them special. They leaned into it. They didn't trim the edges to fit in, they sharpened them. Every member of Queen was a powerhouse on their own, each pulling from different corners of the musical map. Freddie Mercury was born in 1946 in Zanzibar. He was the heart of it all, an artist who could blend power and vulnerability in the same breath. His voice could go from delicate to volcanic in a single line, and his stage presence, well, no one has ever come close in my opinion. Brian May was born in 1947 in London. He was a scientist with a guitar, literally. The man has a PhD in astrophysics from Imperial College in London, and he built his own instrument, the famous Red Special, with his dad. Every riff he played sounded like it came from another planet. Roger Taylor was born in 1949 in Norfolk, England. He's one of my biggest influences. He was a drummer with range, attitude, and a voice that could rival Freddie's. Songs like Radio Gaga prove that he wasn't just keeping time, he was writing songs that defined eras. And then there's John Deacon, born in 1951 in Leicester, England. The quiet genius in the corner. His bass lines weren't flashy, they were foundational. Another One Bites the Dust, that's Deacon's groove and melody in perfect balance. Together they were unstoppable, not because they were alike, but because they weren't. When you talk about Queen's biggest hits, you're not just listing songs, you're listing chronological moments in music history. It started with early standouts like Keep Yourself Alive and Killer Queen. Songs that showed their mix of precision and flamboyance right out of the gate. You could already hear that this band wasn't interested in following trends. They were inventing them. Then in 1975, they released Bohemian Rhapsody, the song that broke the mold completely. 6 minutes long, no chorus, 3 movements, and somehow it's one of the most iconic pieces of music ever recorded. Operatic harmonies, guitar solos, emotional storytelling, it wasn't just a hit, it was a monument. From there, the hits kept coming. We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, both recorded in 1977, turned audiences into instruments. Another One Bites the Dust brought funk into rock and topped the US charts in 1980. Under Pressure with David Bowie proved that their magic could even blend with someone else's. Then there was Radio Gaga, I Want to Break Free, and Somebody to Love. Proof that Queen could shapeshift through the decades and still sound like no one but themselves. Every era, every genre, they didn't just adapt, they made rock and roll feel regal. Queen didn't just make albums, they built worlds and universes. Their 1973 debut album, Queen, was raw and hungry. It showed flashes of their brilliance that would define them. A year later, Queen 2 took that ambition and turned it into something larger. Layered vocals and fantasy lyrics and walls of sound that sounded like they were written for velvet curtains and chandeliers instead of amplifiers and beer-stained floors. Then came Sheer Attack in 1974. It was tighter, it was sharper, it was packed with personality. It was the sound of a band finally coming into their own. But it was A Night at the Opera in 1975 that was the explosion. Every single song felt like a new act in an unforgettable play. It was dramatic, and it was fearless, and it was unapologetically grand. It was elegant, it was chaotic, it was audacious. And Bohemian Rhapsody was just the crown jewel. No pun intended. News of the World in 1977 gave us We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. These were anthems that were built for large arenas and immortality. Even in their later years, The Game, Hot Space, and Innuendo, they never stopped experimenting. Rock, pop, funk, opera, they treated all of these genres like their playgrounds. Each album wasn't just another debut, it was a statement that Queen refused to be ordinary. Seeing Queen live wasn't just going to a concert, it was stepping into a thunderstorm of lights, vocals, and pure adrenaline. Freddie Mercury didn't just walk on stage, he owned it. Every move, every gesture, every note was designed to pull you in. His voice could fill an arena, but it was his presence that could make you feel like he was singing straight to you. Check out Somebody to Love from Montreal in 1981. Right before the song starts, Freddie looks directly into the camera, and somehow it feels like he's looking right at you. His showmanship wasn't just charisma, it was art. The kind that makes you forget you're watching a performance because you're too busy feeling it. Watch their Live Aid performance of 1985. It was 20 minutes that became legend. Freddie had 70,000 people in the palm of his hand, and somehow he made Wembley Stadium feel like a small club. And next to him, a band, fierce, relentless, still nailing those impossible harmonies and playing their instruments like their lives depended on it. As someone who spent their years performing, I'll tell you firsthand that wasn't a coincidence. That was mastery on every single level. Queen didn't just push the boundaries of rock, they erased them completely. They blurred the line between genres, generations, and even identity. They showed that being larger than life wasn't something to apologize for. It was something to embrace. Freddie Mercury's voice, presence, and spirit broke barriers and still inspire performers across every stage today. When he passed away in 1991, the world didn't just lose a singer, it lost an energy. Someone who could make millions of people feel seen, heard, alive, all at once. He was irreplaceably Freddie Mercury. But his message and the band's was always clear. Be bold, be strange, be honest, be yourself. That's the real legacy of Queen. They didn't just teach us how to sing louder, they taught us how to live louder. Every time you hear Don't Stop Me Now blasting through a car window or Somebody to Love echoing through a bar, it's a reminder that it's okay to be unapologetically you. Queen wasn't just a band, they were proof that rock could be intelligent, theatrical, emotional, and fearless all at once. That's the magic of Queen, not just the music that lasts, but a spirit that refuses to fade away. So that, my friends, is Queen. For beginners. In next week's episode, we move from the crown to the purple throne. An artist who didn't just break the rules, he rewrote them in electric purple ink. A multi-instrumentalist, a boundary pusher, a visionary who made every note, lyric, outfit, his own form of rebellion. In episode 8, we're gonna cover Prince. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying this series. It really does help the channel grow. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. We'll see you next time.